Now we're going to learn how to solve for sides and angles using right triangle trig. We have a couple steps. What we want to do is label our HOA, hypotenuse, opposite, and adjacent. Then decide what you need out of SOHCAHTOA. And then from there, you're going to solve. So in my first right triangle, we're doing the sides first. You want to make sure you can see where the angle is that they've given you. Then we're going to label H, O, A. So circle where you have a number and a variable. I have a number and variable at A and H, which means for this problem, I'm going to be using cosine. So cosine of my angle, what's my angle? 73 degrees equals adjacent, which is x, over my hypotenuse, which is 34. So now I'm going to type in my calculator so that I can look up what is cosine of 73. And it tells me cosine of 73, we're going to do 3 decimal places, is 0.292. And then how do I get x by itself? We're going to multiply. So 34 times 0.292 gives me, rounded to 1 decimal place, 9.9. Now, you want to keep it more accurate early on in the problem. So if I want to round to 1 decimal place, I'm just going to say our rule of thumb is to do 3 earlier in the problem. We don't want to be rounding early because that's just going to make things farther off. Okay, so let's look at the next one. First step is label H, O, A. Where do I have a variable? At x. And I have a number over here with the opposite. So I have O and H, which means I'm going to use sine. So sine of my angle is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. So sine, what's my angle? 18 degrees. What's my opposite side? 11. And then I have my hypotenuse is x. So we're still going to start with looking up our angle. So sine of 18 degrees to 3 decimal places is 0.309 equals 11 over x. When I have x in the denominator, what I want to do is multiply it out. So that would give me 0.309x equals 11. And now I'm going to divide by 0.309 on both sides. Which is to 1 decimal place 35.6. Last one. First step, label HOA. So H, O, A. I have a variable at A and a number at O. So O and A is going to be tangent. So tangent of theta, my angle, equals O over A. So tangent, my angle is 57 degrees, equals my O is 13, and my A is x. We're going to use the calculator to look up tangent of 57 to 3 decimal places. So 1.5, 1.5, and that's going to round up. So 5, 4, equals 13 over x. How do I get x out of the bottom? We're multiplying both sides by x, so 1.54x equals 13. And then we'll divide by 1.54. Sorry, that was so sloppy. On both sides. 13 divided by 1.54. Helps if I can type in a calculator, which is questionable today. By the way, hopefully you see why you need to have a scientific calculator at this point. And one decimal place is going to be 8.4. So that was solving for a side. Now you want to find your solving for an angle piece of paper. So solving for an angle, we have the same first few steps. When we're solving for an angle, we still are going to do HOA. We're still going to set up whether it's sine, cosine, or tangent. But then to undo sine or undo cosine, we have to use the inverse. Just like the inverse of adding is subtracting, the inverse of dividing is to multiply. It's the same thing, and so we're going to use the inverse function on our calculator, which is where we're going to press second sine, second cosine, or second tangent. And I'll show you what that button looks like. But the first step is the same. Label H, O, A. So where do I have stuff? I have stuff at 11, which is H, and 8, which is A. So that means I'm doing cosine. So, toa, cosine. So cosine of my angle theta equals A over H. This time, I don't know what my angle is, and if you wanted to put a question mark there, that's okay. Or you could call it X, nobody cares. A is 8, and H is 11. So I can't divide by cosine. Cosine is a function just like adding or subtracting. So to get rid of it, I have to use the inverse, which is going to be second cosine. On your calculator, it has cosine and it looks like a little -1. Okay, so I'm going to press second cosine and then type in this ratio of 8 over 11. So on your calculator, it should look like this at this step. It should be cosine -1, 8 over 11 is what you're trying to type in. And you should get 43.3 degrees. So once you get the hang of it, it's a lot faster than having to solve for a side if you know to use the inverses. So first step, label HOA, HOA. I have numbers at A and O, which means I'm going to use tangent. So tangent of theta equals O over A. So tangent, I still don't know my angle. Theta equals O is 34 over A is 44. And we're going to do inverse tangent. So on my calculator, I'm going to press second tangent, which should show up as tangent to the -1, equals 34 over 44. And I should get my answer. Inverse tangent, 34 divided by 44, which is 37.7 degrees. Last one, label H, O, A. I have stuff at H, I have stuff at O, so I'm going to be using sine. So sine of my angle theta equals O, which is 10, over H. So sine of theta, don't know what theta is. O is 10, H is 11. To undo sine, we're going to do the inverse of sine. So inverse sine of 10 divided by 11. Which is going to give me 65.4 degrees.